It's nothing but melted buildings. They will tell you some ooga booga caveman came here to carve this or something. Do you think people with donkeys and chisels got some bricks all the way up there? Hello, dear meltheads, all curious minds and all the truth seekers out there. Everybody looking for truth. I got some truth for you, and it's quite interesting. So before we get started, and before you stop watching after a minute and a half, if you call yourself a truth seeker, then give this a chance, okay? Because some people might need some more time to really comprehend this reality and understand the facts. So that's my advice to you. Of course, I'm not gonna force you to watch longer than a minute and a half, but you might regret if you don't do that, because this truth is absolutely incredible, and it applies to every human being here in this realm, and it's a very important part of our history. Because as you hopefully know, and as you probably know since you're here watching this, we have been lied to on a very massive scale. So I'm gonna try to reveal to you how mountains are melted red brick buildings. Yes, that's right, it might sound crazy at first, because we have been heavily conditioned and programmed and indoctrinated since the day we were born in this place. We went to school as children, naive children, believing everything adults were telling us, these strangers, these teachers, educating from the state, and it's all lies, it's all lies. And if you approach this truth from a flat earth perspective, you will most definitely have a big advantage to understand this, yeah. So I got a whole bunch of photos here, and I'm gonna explain to you while we go through them all what we really see in reality. So I'm no man to say or decide what is what. I'm just here to reveal what I see, and I don't even know why I see this, and I'm not the only person who see this either. There is many out there, and it's a growing thing. So yeah, we can just get started. We don't need to talk too much about other things. Let's get into the photos, and hopefully you will learn some things. Hopefully you will start to see the obvious and what was hidden right in front of our noses our whole lives, because we have been living on top of ashes and ruins without knowing it. So what you see here is this old walled construction here. This is what we call a pocket of survival, because when the buildings melted, not all the buildings melted 100%. I like to compare it with a melting circuit board on a computer. If you short circuit or overload this circuit board, the components will not all melt 100% evenly. Sometimes one side of the component will be still intact, while the other side looks like a pile of melt. And this is what we see here, because you have this section of the building here in a little bit better condition than the section right here above it. And you can see here all the red bricks here got all fried. This is an electrical event, a cataclysm, if you will, is what it looks like. In my opinion so far. I'm 2.5 years into this research, and that's the current thing I believe so far. And today is the 11th of June 2022, things might change over time as I learn more and I understand more. But the thing is, I'm researching this together with everybody out there, everybody watching this video, to try to figure out what happened here. Because this world, like I said, looks like a post-apocalyptic Earth or realm, a world. So the red bricks here all turn into what they call rocks. Okay, so they want us to believe that somebody came here and built this wall structure here into this so-called mountain with doors here, entrances into the mountain, which is complete nonsense, and hopefully this video will prove it to you. So this is all heat damage, all of this used to be red bricks. I know it might sound crazy, but give it a chance. So this is a building that went through a cataclysmic event, and when the event stopped and everything cooled down and densified, this is what it now looks like. Okay, I got plenty of photos. This is the same place, just a little bit further away, so you can see a little bit more. And you can just see here in the middle this swelling here, heat expansion, altered states of matter. See here what happened to the building. Nobody ever built around this. This around here is not a naturally generated formation. This is a melted building. See down here what happened here. See this archway, how it's all mangled, how it's melting down here, creating what we call a rock curtain. And if you're interested in learning more about the terminology in meltology, then make sure to check out my second documentary called The Tartarian Meltdown Documentary, Meltology Explained. You should find it on my YouTube channel or in the description box down below. Here is another example of red bricks being just fried. Okay, see here what happened to the red bricks, how they changed their shapes and everything, turned into what they would call rocks. Called rocks in geology, which is what I'm trying to prove to people, that it's complete nonsense. It's all made up. This is all red bricks that went through a cataclysmic event, and you can still see some of the bricks in here in better condition than many of the other bricks. As you see here, they turn into blocks and rocks. And in the background here, you can see the bigger section of the building here. This is what they would call a mountain in so-called geology, which is all made up to deceive you, so you don't see your reality accurately, so they can manipulate your perception of reality and therefore control the way you act and behave. So this is the larger section of the building that's melting down. It's still tons of bricks in here, of course, very, very, very damaged and mangled. And it's melting down, and it starts to cover the buildings that's below, because all of this used to be viscous and flowing. But of course, when it cooled down, we had the densification process, and now it's rock solid again. All of this went through a cataclysmic event, and this is the result. And of course, they may make up a bunch of lies about these sites, so we don't understand or question it properly. They had to explain it somehow with some nonsensical geology. It's just as dumb as NASA, okay? So here is another one. I got another angle of it, but you can see the building here as well is supposedly built into the mountain, so-called mountain, but that's complete nonsense. The whole thing here is part of the same building, and you got a lot of heat damage here, altered states of matter, and now it got this mountain look to it. See here, got the classic old wall design. All of this used to be red brick. And you can go inside some of these still. Very often they turn them into religious sites and so forth, just to deceive. Here is the other angle I was talking about, and you can see here how the building just goes inside this so-called mountain up here and behind it. And in my mind, if I was supposed to build this building here, I would just move it a little bit this way, and you can just build the whole building right here, and I have plenty of space instead of doing this, and instead of supposedly carve or chisel into the mountain with hand tools like bronze chisels and hammers. Primitive technology cannot do that, but that's what we are told in school when we are naive little children. You can see here how it looks fried and everything. Here is another example of a melted structure. You can see the top of it is still here. Of course, very damaged, altered states of matter again, red bricks melting together, gaining more mass, and they turn into bigger blocks. But when you go further down, look what you see here. You see apertures, you see doors, windows, openings into a so-called mountain, okay? But mountains don't have doors and windows. Buildings do though. So melted red brick buildings, very, very damaged. A cataclysmic event hit this realm, and a past advanced civilization were wiped out of the face of the earth, and nobody told us about it. And whoever did this, or whatever did this, someone took advantage of it and created the stuff we live in now called the New World Order. So here you have the same building way further behind. I think we was up here on the previous photo, and here you see more straight lines. You see some blocks in here. This is not naturally generated formations, and of course nobody would ever come here to carve in here, because first of all it's impossible, and second of all it makes absolutely zero sense to spend a lifetime to carve these straight lines in here. It's just nonsense. Here you have a big square block with a hole in it. No idea what it used to be for, or what it used to look like before it got fried and melted, but here it is. And look at the ground, all of this is all melt. It's all melt here. It's not, I repeat, it's not naturally generated formations. And here, this is what I'm talking about when I say it's all red bricks that's been X-factored, as we call this cataclysmic event. We call it the X-factor event. So you can clearly see here they had access to this red brick. So why would you ever build like this? I'll tell you, you wouldn't, okay? This all used to be red bricks. Just look at it here. You see red bricks here. You see red bricks still a little bit in them. But of course, we had altered states of matter, and their appearance and shape, everything changed because it was a cataclysm. And here as well you can see how pancaked some of these bricks are, which also makes no sense to build like this, because when you make red bricks you use a mold, and every brick you make in that mold will be identical. Okay, so why do you have this pancaked brick here? And some of them are bigger. See here, this big red brick slab. This used to be viscous bricks here, and they melted together, and now it's a long slab here. Some of the results of this cataclysm is difficult to understand how it happened or what it looked like when it happened, but this is the evidence we need. See here, you see bricks, mangled bricks in here, and some rocks, and nobody would ever build like this. And if they did, I would really love to see some of the blueprints that tells the construction workers that it's supposed to be like this, it's supposed to be built like this. And of course, they will try to explain it with rain and erosion and wind erosion, all this nonsense, but water, a little bit of water from the sky cannot turn a red brick building into this. It's just nonsense. And also a mud flood cannot do this to a building. So there is no mud floods, it's all a melt flood. We'll get to that. Or it's also explained in pretty much all of my previous videos and also my documentaries. So check them out if you're interested in learning more. That's up to you, of course. You might want to stay ignorant because it feels more comfortable. And for me, that's fine. But it's your loss because you cannot see your reality properly. So here as well, you got this so-called mountain here. This mountain look to it with some bricks in here. How do you do that? And why? Yeah, that's a good question. And you got the bricks here all fried. And here, archways, you got the bricks all the way, and then suddenly it turns into a huge chunk here. And you got some mangled bricks over here and here. You got a little bit of brick in here. Why is this here? If this was a naturally generated formation and carved here, but then they had to build bricks like this for the rest of it. Mangled bricks, by the way. See, it's going like this with it's bent here, and on this side you had to carve here and then build bricks. It's just nonsense, okay? The carving, chiseling thing is nonsense. Here you got another brick down here. Why? Because it's a melted building and some of the bricks managed to survive. I don't know why. Possibly because we were meant to discover this. And another example where pretty much everything got this so-called mountain look to it. But you can see red bricks all over the place. You see some brick in here, little pieces and chunks of brick. Here is one. And then you got suddenly a bunch of these so-called rocks in here. And you would never do that when you have perfect access to red bricks, as you will probably understand if you keep researching this and watching. So you suddenly have a brick in here, hammered into this so-called mountain rock, whatever it is. Why? Why is there a brick in here? That's what I'm trying to explain. Here you got a brick in here. Why? You got an archway full of bricks. It's all melted buildings. It's all fried, altered states of matter. You got more stuff up here. Okay, so who in the past came here and decided to put some bricks in here? And some broken bricks and little pieces of brick in here. Why is this here? Okay, so you gotta question what you have been told your whole life, so you can view your reality accurately, so humanity can free themselves from this mental prison, also very often described as the Matrix. And here again, altered states of matter. You have red bricks turning into rocks, so-called rocks, with some bricks in here, a pancaked brick in here, little chunks of bricks all over the place. This is the evidence. It's presented right in front of you right now. You're watching it, and I'm explaining it to you. Here you got an archway looking all mangled, swollen, melted, and then you have a sideways brick or a vertical brick right here, a brick in here, little pieces of brick all over the place. Brick, 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 yeah. And here, balloon rocking, heat expansion, swelling, melted building. And evidence like this is what I present to completely destroy the so-called carving or chisel theory we are told in school as naive little children who don't know better and whose brain is not developed enough to question reality and question what they are being told. We just believe it and believe it and believe it, and we live our whole lives just living a lie, basically. So many people, when they come to sites like this, they will just think, oh, some primitive Ooga Booga caveman carved into here. And of course they had to carve, you know, a house look to it. You needed this roof look to it, you know why. And here are some designs. And if you understand the amount of time it would take to carve into here with a bronze chisel and hammer, which have been tested in modern times, and it's impossible, then you would need like 10 generations just to make something like this. And why? If you're a primitive caveman just looking to carve into a mountain to get shelter from the elements, you would never ever do all of this extra stuff here. A triangle here, rectangular shapes. Here is the doorway, and then of course an archway here, an opening for no reason, nothing. You cannot hide from anything in here. Water will come down here and fall in here. You'll get wet, it'll be windy, everything. You cannot use this for a shelter as a caveman. So that's also just pockets of survival. You got another one here as well, archway. And of course the red color is still in here. Red bricks, melted buildings, no such thing as mountains. The truth is stranger than fiction, my friends. So here you got an older photo of the same place, and yeah, this guy is just standing next to it, and you can see here his height compared to the door. He's going up to here with his head, so he can't even get in here properly without crawling, or you know. So the opening might have been taller, but it's all melted here now, and the opening is shorter now. Who knows what they looked like before they melted. And here another chunk of melted buildings. You can see some kind of creatures here looking like maybe a lion. And he's standing up on his back feet there, and you got another one on the other side, which of course nobody ever would carve for no reason. This is concrete molds, okay, that was attached to the exterior of these red brick buildings, but now it's been all melted and mangled, and it's cracked here in the middle, a crack going down the whole thing here, because of how violent this event was. And who would ever carve this here for no reason? And why is there an opening here, aperture, whatever it is, window, for no reason? It's all melted buildings. And here you got this one again, a little bit further away, but it reveals the left side, where you also have an entrance into this building. Okay, this is not a mountain. Mountains don't have buildings, and nobody carved or chiseled anything. It's a melted structure, and it's sitting here surrounded with melt flood brick ash from the bigger buildings around that melted completely and flooded this whole structure here with building melt. We are just seeing the very top. Here is another one, very classic old world style architecture. You see these kind of cylinder towers on so-called churches and cathedrals, and yeah, you know, this old world, these glorious buildings that we find everywhere. But it's a melted building. Nobody carved or chiseled this, okay? But that's what they want you to believe. See, this is just a little pocket of survival. Nobody built like this. And you can almost see some bricks in here, but they melted together into a chunk and melted together, fused together into the rest of the structure, which is now this, okay? And you can even see a little bit remains of red brick in here, okay? Little bit of remains of red brick in there. A little bit here. And up here you got more red bricks melted into there, okay? Not a naturally generated formation. Look at the top as well, mangled bricks. Small pieces of bricks all over, small chunks of bricks all over. And here you got another melted structure. You got pockets of survival here. Bricks turned into bigger blocks, again explained in detail on my documentaries. Please check them out if you want to hear a deeper explanation of this example. And here you got openings, which again is told to us that was carved or chiseled into here. It's nonsense. It's just doors and windows, openings, whatever they used to be in the building that remained somewhat intact. Some of them are a little bit crooked, of course, because this whole thing was viscous. You see bricks in here turned into blocks. You see a whole bunch of holes here, whatever they are, more apertures, an aperture here. It's very, very, very damaged. Here you see a pile of bricks turned into rocks and blocks from this Cataclysmic event. Nobody came here to put a bunch of rocks here. And if everything here melted together, it would look like this. And the left side as well, mangled red bricks with some stairs up here. Bricks turned into blocks, heat expansion. Melted red bricks doing magic tricks is what we used to say. Here is another one. Again, nobody carved this. With all these designs, this is concrete mold designs on the exterior of these red bricks, which is now melted. And why would you carve this house looking thing with an opening here, with a little hole here, and you cannot use it for anything? It's just nonsense. And hopefully you will be able to understand this as I explain it very calmly and in pretty good detail. I'm not gonna spend too much photo on every photo because the video is gonna be too long and nobody's gonna watch it. But hopefully if you find this curious, if this is intriguing to you and everything, then of course you will watch the whole thing and hopefully learn something and get properly educated. So here you see another one which is claimed to be carved or chiseled with columns and everything. And you see this in so-called Greco-Romano or Roman architecture. But this is the same kind of building, but it's been melted. And you have these pockets of survival all over the place. You got an archway here. Do you think somebody carved a little archway here? And then they carved another archway here, which it looks like you can actually enter, or it's something hollow inside here, while this one melted and got closed. And see this in the background here? You got some kind of archway, aperture, whatever it is right here. It's a little piece of melted building as well. All mountains are in fact similar to what we already have seen. Nobody would carve this, and you can even see here a little bit of bricks turned into rocks in here. And if you were supposed to carve this, why would you do all this extra stuff right here? See, with identical look like this so-called Greco-Romano architecture like we had talked about. See here, you would never do this. You would just have an opening so you could hide from the elements. So it's just a melted structure and it is what it is. More examples of altered states of matter. You can see red brick here, all mangled of course, turned into rocks and whatnot. These ones are a little bit better condition than these ones. And here everything just melted into one chunk. And what's this? Yeah, closed off windows, they got melted. And now they are sealed. Red brick archways, classic old wall stuff. We see this all over the place. Bricks turn into rocks and blocks. We see that also all over the place. But just look at the wholeness of everything here. This mangled wall going up. You can see down here some bricks, and then it suddenly looks like this. And it's going up. You got some blocks and it's just fused into here. Melted. Heat expansion, fried, whatever you want to call it. Look here, melted archways, melting down here. Can you see? Everything is on an angle here. All used to be viscous and melting. And you got some bricks in here. You see a row of bricks here. You got archway turned into rocks and blocks. And see here, it used to be viscous and then it densified. And now It looks like this, which is of course a melted structure. You got openings in here with some roof still intact, a window behind this little column here. Melted, more apertures. Mountains don't have doors and windows. This realm went through a cataclysmic event, and here I am explaining it to you. And here again you can see the red bricks melting together here. You see all this, and some of them turn into what they call rocks in geology, but there is no such thing as rocks. All of this are all melted bricks, altered states of matter, mangled. Went through a cataclysm, and it's a huge mess now. See here, chunk of melted red brick right here. See the color is obviously red brick. See here, more red brick melted together. You can no longer see separate bricks in here because of altered states of matter. Everything was viscous and melting. Red in here. A bunch of them turned into so-called rocks. More red in here and here. They just turn into gray rocks. Color everything carbon-14 changed. This is the same as the ashes at the bottom of your fireplace. Everything carbon is cooked out, and now it's just white or gray or whatever you want to call it. Archway turned into bigger blocks. More red bricks melted into a huge chunk of red brick melt. It's been melted. This realm is wrecked. We live in ashes and ruins of some kind of past advanced civilization. Here you see this stuff again, which of course they claim is carved. But I'm here to tell you it's not. It's just melted buildings, guys. And you see these low-laying archways here for no reason, right? Because of all this melt flood here. Brick ash, that's what dirt is. All these so-called naturally generated minerals, dirt, sand, clay, all of that stuff is a result of this cataclysmic event. We have never seen the actual earth. You see how it's melted archways, apertures. Yeah, it's melted building. Look at the top here, how it now has this mountain look to it, so-called mountain. We have been very programmed into believing these are naturally generated formations, and that some primitive people with hand tools came to carve this with their donkeys, and it's absolute nonsense. Another melted building, almost beyond recognition, this one, but of course if you got the eyes to see, you can see it's full of very mangled apertures. Of course, windows in here. You got some stuff over here, you got here a little bit of roof here maybe, all mangled. A whole pile of bricks turned into rocks and blocks. A whole bunch of rocks just hammered in there. Yeah, do you think somebody did that? No, of course not, it's nonsense. Red bricks here turned into bigger blocks. It's all been melted. I'm up here, beyond recognition. You cannot see any apertures or anything. It's just too damaged to recognize, and now they call it a mountain. And you also gotta understand the scale of these buildings, okay? So you got big mountains. Very often people ask me, what about Mount Everest? Yeah, that's also a melted building. So when you take that into consideration, and you understand how tall and large these buildings used to be, Mount Everest, for example, that's melted down. So picture, 3 times as tall possibly before it melted down into a pile of melted building. So you got big buildings for a very, very, very large population number. That's the thing, okay? That's the thing here, because we got these overlords, excuse me. Got a little tongue twisting there. English sometimes is a little difficult to pronounce, but you got these overlords in this so-called modern society that tells us we are too many humans here, we are overpopulated, and so forth. It's complete nonsense. It's an agenda, depopulation agenda, control agenda. It's all nonsense. This place, this realm can provide for infinite amount of life. This place used to flourish of life, and now we are told we are only like 8 billion. Is that what they say? And maybe that number is not even true. So you see this archway here. How do you build an archway like that? With all these tiny little rocks and stuff. Yeah, it's all melted. See, it's even dripping down a little bit, but it densified mid-air. You got red bricks in here still. I'm not trying to zoom and make it all corny. You got red bricks in here still. Some of them turn into blocks and rocks, as we have seen many times before. You got some kind of metal bar in here still there. It could have been put in here in more recent times to support this, so it doesn't collapse and kill somebody. I don't know, but it could also be original, because how do you get that in there? Yeah. And here this whole place is full of melted structures. The whole earth is actually full of melted structures, and here is another example of how you just see some of the apertures, archways and stuff in the building, which nobody ever would carve here. It's just pockets of survival. Little bit of the building still recognizable. And you see how it's mangled here. You got red bricks all over the place. Melted structures. See here, red brick. See this red brick here? Melted, all pancaked now. And it goes into here, and you got archways down in here, How deep does it go, you know? So we'll just live on top here, and we don't know anything about reality. We very often just build on top of here, for example, and then bam, you got, how deep does it go? Do you have more layers inside here? How deep does it go? Yeah, more red brick in here. Some very many of them turn into bigger blocks. Balloon rocking is what we call it. Heat expansion. And here another very good example. Red bricks doing magic tricks. All these red bricks, you know, they went through this cataclysmic event, and the red bricks, the poor little red bricks had no idea what to do. So they did this. And yeah, apertures in here. Again, nobody carved anything here. It's just a melted building. Very violent event happened, and now it's just completely destroyed. And here, this is in Cappadocia or Cappadocia. I'm not sure how to pronounce it, but it's in Turkey. And if you go there, if you have fresh eyes to this idea here, then this location is a very good spot to go and look up photos for, because you got plenty of stuff like this looking like melted ice cream. Yeah, it's all melted buildings, apertures all over the place, apertures in here still visible, something in here. Well, some of them are in a little bit better condition, just like this one, just like this one. Here you got some red brick turned into blocks and rocks. Got a whole bunch of red brick melted into here, into this huge melt flood coming down. It's all melted buildings. And here another chunk of building melt, and you got this archway here going straight through. And why would a primitive Ooga Booga caveman, who had to be very worried about survival and hiding from the elements and such things, why would he carve a pass through or a little tunnel here when he can just walk right around here and then he's on the other side? There is no need for this. So why is this here? It's clearly man-made, and it's a melted building. You can see the viscous holes here, all of this viscous air trying to separate, creating all these holes. Okay. Another example, melted building. You got the opening into it still there. And here, this is what I call these concrete molds. Looks like it used to be some kind of concrete mold exterior statue thing here. Very destroyed. Here, another one looking like a person. You got something up here. And another one right here. Yeah. And of course all this red color still in here. While here it's all cooked out. And now it's just white. Just like ash. Full of holes, viscous holes. You got more red color down in here. All used to be a red brick. You got a little bit of red in here. It's all melted. And here again, you can just, I'm not gonna explain. You can just look at this picture a little bit for yourself and just picture a melted structure or a melted building. Or a naturally generated formation that somebody carved. You know, which one makes most sense? And yeah, I know, being lied to on this level can hurt a little bit, but just look at it. It's not my fault. But I'm trying to help you understand what kind of parasites we're dealing with in this realm and this society. And the leaders of this so-called modern society and what they do to us and how they lie so much. It's like this realm have turned into a soul harvesting or energy harvesting farm or something. They're just farming us. So here another very, very, very destroyed building. Altered states of matter, red bricks doing magic tricks, turning into all these so-called rocks. And you got some little pieces of bricks still in here. You got a little bit of bricks here, you got some laying around, one here. And of course the rest of the building looks like this now. And they will probably say this is like rain erosion or some wind erosion or something. It's just nonsense, it's ridiculous. More melted structures right here. Apertures, tops of buildings, called mountains. It's nonsense. It's absolute nonsense. Another bigger melted structure. You got apertures all over the place. And are we supposed to believe that some primitive people somehow climbed all the way up here to carve a little window right here so he could crawl in and live there? And then every time he's going to the grocery store, he got a little bit of issues getting out of his home because he had got to go all the way down here, and then he got to get back up with all his products. Not saying they had grocery stores back then in this so-called primitive caveman times, but whatever he had to hunt or farm, he had to bring all that stuff up here. And it's just nonsense. It's just windows on a melted building, guys. You see the brick lines still in here. See these horizontal lines all mangled. Brick lines sometimes heat expanded and turned into bigger block lines. But it all used to be red brick. And another example of concrete molds, like we saw in a couple of photos ago, just in way, way better condition. And again, I have to repeat myself many times just to get this into your mind so you can understand it properly. This is not carved or chiseled. It's a structure that's been melted, and these are all just concrete molds put here, attached to the exterior of these buildings. Okay, it's very easy to make these molds. You can see one mold here, one here, one here. You just use the same mold 3 times and then you have 3 identical statues. It's very easy. Very often, sometimes you see the core of these statues are red brick, and then they just put exterior concrete finish on them to make the statue. Got some here, and here you got the brick lines again. All mangled, of course. Pancake brick lines, some of them turn into block lines. It's all melted buildings. This place, this realm is wrecked. Look at the bottom, block lines here. It's all X-factored. It's not naturally generated formations. And here, this is a little distractive with all this stuff they put up here for no reason or for whatever reason. It's probably some kind of tourist site with a gift shop somewhere. But look at the melted structure. Look at this little things peeking out. Do you think somebody built here like this? Nah, the whole, look how straight everything is. It's a melted structure, and some of it is still peeking through the melt here. This rock curtain is what we call it. Everything melting down, starting to cover things. Some of them are peeking out still. Here we got some columns and some whatever down in here, still here in the building. You got more openings, columns and stuff down here behind all of this. I think I got another photo of the same place. You got something down here as well, columns, apertures, whatever they are. Melted red brick, and you can still see a little bit of red color in here. You can see how it's melting and dripping down. And you got viscous holes. This is what they would call wind erosion or water erosion. It's nonsense. It's a melted structure. I think, yeah, there is another one here without all this stuff in the way, and you can see all these apertures into the building itself here. Again, not carved or chiseled. You can never build like this. And I wonder, if you walk like this, can you like walk and go up here from within the building still? Or is it collapse within? Okay, so that's also another thing you gotta understand. You got this thing in this reality, in these so-called mountains here called caves. But caves are nothing but the internals of these buildings that didn't collapse, and you can still go inside some of these buildings. Very many of these openings and so-called caves are blocked off from the public because they are hiding something. Something they don't want you to know. So here you got a bunch of red brick here. You got a bunch of brick lines cooked into block lines at an angle here. So that shows that some of it started to sink down a little bit to the left here. Sink down. So it's on an angle. Bricks are usually always laid horizontally. And you see this huge melt above, this huge rock curtain. And you see these things peeking out similar to the photo we just saw. Very similar stuff peeking out, very similar architecture. This is the more what we call this Asian Japanese style architecture, but most of it is from the old world. They just had different themes, you could say, on this plain-wide, worldwide electric circuit board city they had here in the past. Free energy and everything, everybody living in harmony, no wars, no separation, no racisms, and of course, most importantly, no pedophiles telling humanity what to do and what to put inside their bodies through arm spears and so forth. And here you got another one, very good example. You see the facades here, glorious, the classic old world architecture. You have seen these in cathedrals and stuff, but it's a melted structure. It's cracked here, huge crack. You got a pile of brick ash here. This is what they call sand in the geology academia, which is all made up. It's not sand, it's ash. And it's a destroyed building. It's been melted. It's actually not a building. It's a component of some kind. It's a machine used as a building, but the original purpose, free energy component. This is an energy realm. Just look at your veins and look at the backside of a leaf. Look at the river networks. Look at the tree, how it looks like a lightning coming just from the bottom up. You know, the designs. Everything is electric in this place. It's obvious if you got the brain capacity, of course, to understand it. And everything of these buildings, all these bricks used to be able to conduct electricity most likely, and all of the buildings just had a different purpose than just being a roof, you know. And here you see bricks mangled into here, apertures as well into here. Bricks turned into bigger blocks, and brick lines, block lines, everything, melted structure with a little tiny pocket of survival right here. And here, this is no different. This is a very famous or very well-known location. You have probably seen it many times before. It's in Petra, Jordan. And this is no different. It's a little pocket of survival here. Melted red brick building. It's enormous. The ceiling height and the doors here are so tall that it shows that it's possible that some of the humans in this place used to be a little bit larger than what we are now. Giants, yes, probably wiped out from existence for all we know, or they could be somewhere else, you know. All the maps and everything are wrong. What if there is more land somewhere, or stuff like that? What if that's the real outer space? More land, possibly, who knows? But it's all melted red brick buildings. Just look at it. Mother Earth did not generate these so-called naturally generated formations looking like a melted red brick structure. It makes no sense. It's all a melted building. Yes, you're welcome. And here it's the same area, just a different one. Again, they will call it carved or chiseled, and they will call this wind and water erosion. It's nonsense. It's just look at it. You have seen architecture like this all over the place. This is exactly the same, only this building got very, very melted, as you can see here. Yeah, it's beyond recognition. All the red bricks, look what happened to them, my friend. See here? Got a little bit of stuff right here. And you got a chunk of building melt right here. You see this sealed off apertures right here. You got openings. This whole thing collapsed in on itself. Used to be viscous. Look at it. It's a melted building. It's a melted building. See the whole thing here. Enormous buildings. Melted down. You can even see the dome on the top here. Yeah, the domes you see on these free energy buildings. If you have done the research, Old War research. Here is another one. You can just look at this for yourself. And you gotta look at it from a melted red brick building perspective. And look at it. Is it a naturally generated formation? Or is it a melted red brick building? Yeah, you can see the dripping down. You can see it here, this triangle design they had on all these structures. It's all melted. You can see more dripping down, like melting wax or something. You know, it's all melted red brick buildings. Similar area, or it's in the same place. Don't know, don't care too much where it is, because it's everywhere basically, and you can see all these columns, and we are supposed to believe that somebody carved or chiseled this into here. It's nonsense, my friend. Opening still in here, all these columns, these designs, classic old wall architecture. See how straight everything is here, and nobody carved this. Come on, guys, come on. It's melted. Another melted structure, and yeah, just look at it. Do you think somebody would go through the effort to carve this, having these designs and everything? Again, when they had to be more worried about hiding from the elements, just getting shelter and stuff, why do they have this cylinder tower and these archways and everything, all this extra stuff? Around here, you don't need that. It's a melted structure. And I would much prefer just chopping down a couple of trees and building some wooden structure instead of spending, you know, a lifetime just to make this, to make it, oh, gotta make it look pretty, huh? Like you cared about that. You just had to hide from the elements. It's a melted building, guys, my friends. Here, another one. Very damaged. You can see archways here. This is not a naturally generated formation. Mother Earth don't just make a bunch of archways in here. It's sunk down and collapsed in a little bit on itself, and it's all melted buildings. See here the huge melt coming down here. High viscosity just melting down. And then you got the densification process when the event stopped, and now this is what we have. And they explain it to us, and they lie to us. They misdescribe it heavily. Another one, melted buildings. Again, if you carved or chiseled this, you would never care about going through the effort into making all this extra stuff here. See? Why would you do that when you carve? And here you gotta write something up on here, you know. Oh, yeah, it's nonsense. Just a melted building. The remains of it. Here again, similar stuff. Very similar stuff. Would you... What can this be used for? Why would you carve this or chisel this? Like, with these designs, this pretty designs and everything, and like, yeah, you would never, you can't, there is not even an opening here. Why is this here? Yeah, it's the remnants of melted red brick buildings. You can still see the red color in a bunch of it. Some of it lost its color and is now gray and got this so-called mountain look to it. Here it is from a little bit further away, so you can see how nonsensical the carving or chiseling theory is. And of course they come with their bullshit narrative right here, and they probably tell you how this primitive Ooga Booga caveman came here and decided, oh, we gotta carve this here for no reason. Yeah, don't believe in this little science here. Here is another one. Classic old world architecture. You got all this concrete mold designs on here, all melted of course. You got these two lions here. And the entrance, very mangled, a little bit crooked. And you got some steps or something here, mangled, and some steps or something here as well, all mangled. It's a melted structure. And you can see the rest of it here in a little bit better condition, which have now been removed in more recent times. I've seen other photos of this place, and this one is no longer there. Possibly to hide the evidence, you know. They're doing that stuff all the time. Altered states of matter, you got the red bricks here, still there, while the rest of them turned into rocks and blocks. Here, red brick, all of it, and here this is brick ash. Here, this is what they call dirt, and what many people call a mud flood. It's brick ash. Altered states of matter started to flow, bury everything, and now it looks like this. It's been fried, my friends. Here again, red bricks here, and then suddenly it looks like this. Why? Because it's been damaged. And then okay, you needed a brick in here, but then oh, we decided to use all these ugly looking things here, and then oh, we need some bricks in this archway, and yeah, you need some big blocks here. You can't even carry them up here. There's red bricks turn into bigger blocks, heat expansion, red bricks doing magic tricks, cataclysmic event. Some of it is hard to understand at first, but you will get it eventually if you keep researching this, of course. You can of course just stop watching whenever you want to. I'm not gonna force you to watch, but it's all up to you. Another construction, fried. Look at it. Altered states of matter. Look what happened here. It's dripping down a little bit. Red brick, mangled, cracked, turned into blocks, rocks, whatever you want to call them. Another chunk of melted building with columns here. Got some stuff down here as well. Not I repeat, it's not a naturally generated formation. It's a building that's melted with a little bit of pocket of survival. And here you got the same kind of deal. Red bricks melting together, getting more mass, heat expansion, red brick doing magic tricks, red bricks not knowing what to do, so they did this. Some red bricks in here, see? Oh, we got some red bricks right here, right here. Yeah? Would you build like this? No, you wouldn't. I know you wouldn't. Down here a little bit, chunks. And of course, you got some wood in here still. Wood seem to be more resistant to this electrical overload. So wood very often survived this event, while the bricks are more conductive to electricity, and they did this. See here? Little chunks of melted bricks just melting, getting mangled, getting destroyed. Yeah, cataclysm happened here, guys. It's very important. Another one, so-called mountain with openings in it, with a little bit of red brick in here. Yeah. Maybe some kind of archway used to be there. Crooked entrance. Nobody carved or chiseled anything. It's nonsense. You gotta wake up. Humanity is under spiritual warfare, big time. So red brick, X-factored, fried, altered states of matter. Red brick's doing magic tricks. This is what happened to the brick. Turn into bigger blocks with viscous holes in them. This whole place is destroyed. It's wrecked. Bricks in here still intact. Melted buildings, melted structures. Here is the same. Red bricks here, many of them pancaked from the viscousness and the pressure, everything. Some of them are just so thin and long now. You see here. Bricks are not supposed to be like this, but it's been X-factored. You got the layer of mortar is just as wide as the brick itself. That's not how it's supposed to be. And what's this doing in here? Yeah, balloon rocking. See? Cataclysmic event. Cataclysmic event, my friends. So that was all my photos. I hope you found it interesting. I hope you learned something. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you was entertained. And if you enjoyed, please consider going under this video and hit the thumbs down button and the subscribe button and the bell button to be notified whenever I upload more content and evidence in the future. If you didn't like it, if you think it's absolutely ridiculous, please scroll down and click the thumbs down button. Yeah, please do that. And if you're interested in learning more, please look up the link in the description box. It's linktree/Maltology channels. And if you want to find the rest of my stuff, where you can, for example, if you want to leave a donation, or if you want to find me on Instagram or my backup channels, everything good stuff like that, you will also find a link to that. That's linktree/The Tartarian Meltdown. That's all my stuff. Yeah, that's it. So thank you for watching. Have a blessed day in the melt, or a blessed night, whenever or whatever your time is, whenever you're watching this. And take care, be blessed, be kind, and share. Tell people about this. It's very important for the future of humanity. Alright, so thank you guys for watching. Beautiful people out there. We are just looking for the truth, because there is big problems in this world. We got wars, we got all this ugliness, all this stuff I don't appreciate, and of course, most importantly, all these lies from the government. So yeah, that's it from me for today. So I'll see you next time. Bye bye.